August Board of Adjustment meeting for the City of St. Pete Beach. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Member Small.
Here.
Vice Chair Garshaw.
Here.
Member Core.
Here.
Member Causey.
Here.
Chair Chase.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Perfect. Prior to moving forward with the agenda, if we could please swear anybody in that will be planning to speak today.
Anybody who will be speaking to the board today needs to be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm that the information or factual representation that you are about to give is truthful?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to the agenda, the first item is the approval of today's agenda. Kristen, are there any changes?
Madam Chair, no changes.
Just all in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
The next item is audience comments. If you're here today to speak on a case that's a part of the agenda, you'll have time to talk at that moment. If you'd like to address the board on another matter, now would be the time to share that with us. All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review last month's minutes or watch the meeting and review the minutes if you weren't here?
I did. I don't know if it's appropriate to abstain since I wasn't in attendance, but that would.
Any requests for edits? Or no? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes. Second. Last meeting.
Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Garshaw?
I'll abstain.
I don't think you can abstain, right?
Okay, then I'll approve.
Okay, thank you. Member Core?
Yes.
Yes, I approve.
Member Causey?
Approve.
Member Small?
Yes.
Chair Chase?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to today's action items. Action item A, case number 25052. I believe this is being postponed to the September meeting for noticing.
Yes,
Okay.
Madam Chair, at the request of the applicant, as well as to have sufficient time to address a noticing issue, it has been carried or continued to September's date.
Okay, so then we'll start with action item B, one of 5 cases for today, number 25101, 3400 Gulf Boulevard.
Good afternoon, Brandon Berry, planner with the city. This is a variance for 3400 Gulf Boulevard, the Don Cesar Hotel. It is an unnecessary and undue hardship variance. The original applicant was Liam Turnbull. It is currently Jeff Connell, who's been authorized to represent this case for Michael E. Lentz of Don Cesar TRS LLC. This is a variance as well as a request to modify a development order that was issued in early 2022. This would allow for fences to the west and the east side of El Centro Street on the very northern property boundary to be up to 8 feet in height within a required front and secondary front setback, and I'll give more detail on that in a moment. That is pursuant to Land Development Code Section 6.15. The modification to the development order that I referenced is Development Order 21073, which authorized a variance for a ballroom addition. Condition 8 specified fence height in this location to be 4 feet. This would allow for modification to match this variance. Here's an aerial of the property. Of course, the primary frontage is along Gulf Boulevard, but the property also has frontage along El Centro Street. At the terminus of El Centro Street going east toward the Bayway, that is an easement through the property, but that is public right-of-way between the service lot on the east side and the area where the ballroom will be installed on the west side. The property collectively has a zoning of RFM and is a resort zoning category. To summarize the variance request, I'll go on to the next slide, which shows the actual detailed fences. In red on the screen are fences of 7 feet in height. That is at the service lot on the north side, top right of the screen. So that is east of El Centro, west of Gulf Boulevard. The southern portion of the fence adjacent to the parking lot ties in with a wall that also received a variance a number of years ago. The northern fence does terminate a bit before the southern fence. That fence will be 7 feet in height. In the 50 feet abutting the Gulf Boulevard property line, as well as a 25 feet abutting the El Centro property line. The fence cannot exceed 4 feet in height. Obviously, the fence is within that distance, so that portion will require a variance to be installed. They do step down the fence at the western side in the 8 feet leading to the El Centro property line. That will be 4 feet tall. That will meet the setback, but the remaining 17 feet going east from El Centro Street property line will need a variance as requested. The same on the Beach Walk side, so on the west side of El Centro, just to the north of where the ballroom addition is being constructed. There will be an 8-foot tall fence. There is a required 25-foot setback from El Centro Street for any fence that exceeds 4 feet in height. They are proposing a 6-foot run of this. This is a slight modification from what went to Technical Review Committee. They have also modified the south side adjacent to the buffer to have that 6-foot run where it is 4 feet. After that, it will step up to 8 feet in height. So that remaining 19 feet going west toward the beach walk is the portion that requires a variance in this case. As I mentioned, this did go to Technical Review Committee a few weeks ago. Staff had expressed some concerns at the time. The parking lot underneath the ballroom addition can be used only by staff and deliveries. Staff had expressed some concerns at the time because the fence on the south side of the landscaping buffer had been proposed to be 8 feet all the way up to the right-of-way line. We had concerns about trucks potentially backing out of that onto El Centro, and that just being a blind corner. So they have agreed to step that down for the 6 feet, as I showed in the previous slide. There was also some damage to the fence on the east side facing the service lot. They have agreed to replace that fencing, and they will also be striping a crosswalk if this is approved from the walk to the north of the service lot to the walk north of the, or that functions as a beach walk north of the ballroom addition. So they have addressed all the comments that we brought up at Technical Review Committee. Here's some photographs of the site. You can see here the dilapidated fence, as I mentioned before. They will be replacing this at the conclusion of construction. Another looking toward the service lot beach walk, service lot sidewalk. This is where the fence is proposed to be located as a replacement. Also on the north side to the left side of the screen, they are proposing a fence there as well. And then looking out toward the beach walk, again, you'll have the fence. In this case, it will be on the south side where that screen is currently. And this is another look down El Centro Street and another look out toward the Bayway. As I mentioned before, the comments and concerns that were expressed by staff at the Technical Review Committee we feel have been addressed. If the Board of Adjustment finds that there are other concerns to find compliance with the hardship variance criteria, we welcome those comments. But we included the conditions based on the Technical Review Committee review that the fence or adjacent freestanding signage required under the development order that was referenced at the start of the presentation shall be affixed with warnings regarding pedestrian crossing and vehicles exiting the ballroom that should face north toward oncoming traffic along El Centro. The applicant shall stripe and maintain a crossing from the service lot sidewalk to the beach walk, the direction of the city's public services department. And we also asked for modification of condition 8 of development order 21073. Again, that's the order that approved the ballroom addition at the setback that it is being constructed at. It also included that condition for the 4-foot fence. We just asked that it be modified if this is approved to coincide with this case's outcome, which staff will handle. So with that being said, staff does not have any concerns about this left to address. We understand that, and the applicant can speak to this in more detail. We understand that this was initiated by the Property Owners Association, and they are following through with an agreement that they came through with them for this ballroom addition. So with that, we ask for a motion to approve with conditions, deny or continue if you need additional information in this case. And if you choose to approve this case or approve it with conditions, that you also modify condition 8 of development order 21073 to coincide with this outcome. I know we have the applicant present. I'm happy to take any questions.
The first 2 conditions, Brandon, have those been brought to the applicant already?
Yes, we addressed this with them at the Technical Review Committee.
Okay. The signage as well. I hadn't seen that in the other technical. Okay, thank you.
Does this fence go on the south side of the building Because when you show me what that looked like, they understand the El Centro part of it, but on the south side of the hotel itself, where the parking lot is for the Suntan and the Don Cesar, so is it going there? It looked like.
Not under this request, no.
Can you go back and show me where the fence is for the whole there?
So that is the parcel boundary, the red in the top left. That's not the extent of the fence.
That's the what?
If you're referring to the image in the left side of the screen, that is the parcel boundary. That is not the that's not the location.
That's not where
of
the fence is going.
No, that's just showing the
that's what
parcel.
I was gonna say. All right.
The right side, that's showing where the fence under this request is going in the red and blue.
Any additional questions for Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon. So are there other rights of way that have 8-foot fences on either side of the sidewalk? Because it's a long walk, it seems like, to be encapsulated into big fences. And the other thing I don't understand of it is either one of those fences gives the view blocking that I think was the intent of the fence. It's for the residential area to not look at the service lot. But instead, we've put 2 8-foot fences, one on either side of the walkway.
Sure, and the applicant can maybe address that a little bit better than I can. They've been involved in the conversations with the association. As for this type of layout, it's such a unique property and situation. I don't know of any others that would be in this exact situation. We do have other properties that have multiple frontages where they have to deal with, structure setbacks and lowered fences and other things like that aren't typical. But if you looked at the properties just north of here, they do have a lesser, what is their front setback from El Centro, but they do have a requirement for a fence step back of 20 feet before it steps up to 8 feet. So it's standard for the neighborhood, but their setback is a little bit greater, at least along El Centro, than the abutting residences. And that's just a result of the zoning differences between the two.
Any additional questions for Brandon?
So the fences that we're only talking about the fences that are going to be on El Centro up around where they're building the new ballroom. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, this has nothing to do with Gulf Boulevard or any of that.
No, it doesn't.
Got it.
The fence,
A little bit, I see.
it ties in with the wall that currently
Yeah.
is on the north side, but it won't extend out further, so.
Thank you, Brandon. If the applicant would like to please come forward. If you can just state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Good afternoon. Jeff Connell, representing the Don Cesar. You said address as well?
Please.
Oh, 3400 Gulf Boulevard from the hotel. So I'm the architect working on the ballroom renovation, on the other renovations there. And as Brandon stated, when we got the ballroom approved originally, we agreed with the adjacent neighborhood to provide these fences for additional screening. So there's 2 fences. One is to screen the folks that are in the DCPOC accessing the beach from the parking lots, and the other fence is from the folks accessing the beach on the right away from the adjacent single-family homes. So it is sort of creating 2 fences, but the point is to screen the folks walking from the adjacent Don Cesar Hotel and the folks walking from the adjacent residential neighborhoods. So, and if there's concern about height, this was what they had requested, a 7-foot on the east side and an 8-foot on the west side. Certainly we could, speak to that if there's concern if that's too high.
So you're simply complying with the agreement that was made
That
with
is
the
correct.
neighboring residents? Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
So the purpose of this is just cosmetic?
Correct. Correct. I suppose security too, to keep people from coming into if folks accessing the beach, I know that they used to kind of cut through the parking lot there. But now that there's a parking garage and vehicular traffic, I think it's for safety to keep people on the easement right-of-way sidewalk.
And I'm not sure of the answer to this. It doesn't really involve the fence per se, but you said Brandon said that the people that park under the new ballroom are only employees?
Yeah, that was one of the agreements, is underneath there's staff parking only. Majority of folks use valet anyway, but the self-parking will remain on the east side of Gulf Boulevard. And the only area underneath, there's 2 ADA spaces that are required by code, but yes, everything else is for staff only.
I see.
Thank you. If we come up with any other questions, we'll ask you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Now would be the opportunity to speak on behalf or against this application. If you're here regarding this case, is there anybody that would like to address the board? Hearing none, we'll close public comment and open for board discussion. So, ex parte, thank you. Any ex parte?
I'm on the DCPOC, the Don Cesar Property Owners Corporation. I was not a part of the board when an agreement was made, and we have had no board discussions about this.
Thanks. None for me.
I'm a member of the Don Cesar, and I'm there at least once a day, every day.
Okay.
And I just went and did a site visit.
Thanks, guys. So I think it's always nice to see developers complying with the request from the residents, considering they've addressed all of the issues that were brought up in the technical review committee. I think it's a pretty straightforward.
Straightforward, definitely.
Does anybody have any additional things to share? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve case number 25101, 3500 Gulf Boulevard, with the conditions as outlined by staff today.
I'll second that.
Can we also amend that to modify condition 8 of development order?
That's why I said, as outlined by staff today.
Okay.
Is that good?
Perfect, okay. Roll call, please.
Member Causey?
Approve.
Member Core?
Yes.
Vice Chair Garshaw?
Yes.
Member Small?
Yes.
Chair Chase?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Right. Moving on to our next item. Need to pull up the number. Case number 25095, 2373 West Vina Del Mar.
Go the wrong way.
Yeah.
Apologize.
It's okay. There we go.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, Gil Martinez, Senior Planner, Community Development. Before you today is a request for a practical difficulty variance. The applicant is Danielle McLitch. The property in question is 2373 West Vina Del Mar. The request is for the installation of a new 6-foot-high fence within the secondary front yard with a proposed setback of 17.6 feet, where 20 feet is required, in accordance with section of the LDC 6.15. Here is an image, an aerial image of the subject property on the corner of Vina Del Mar and Tessier Drive. The zoning of the property is RU1 residential. Here's an enlarged survey showing the requested improvements. So you can see that we're requesting a 17.6-foot setback, as indicated in the yellow line, for a fence, as indicated by the green line. The exact request detail is the applicant is seeking a practical difficulty variance to allow the installation of a new 6-foot-high fence within the secondary front yard with a proposed setback of 17.6 feet, where 20 feet is required. Here's a table indicating what is required, what is existing, and what is proposed. It's noteworthy that the existing setback for this fence has been 17.6 feet, at least for over a decade now. So that's something to take into consideration. We don't have any records of any approvals prior to it. It just seems to have been there for some time.
So this is a replacement.
Correct. Some general photographs of the property showing our notice postings. As you can see, that is the fence in question in the background. Fence is damaged, as some image indicates where some of the damage is at. and the location of the fence from the interior of the yard. A summary of staff findings. In general, staff finds the application and analysis adequately supports the request based on the following findings. The existing fence within the secondary front yard has a current setback of 17.6 feet where 20 feet is required, resulting in an encroachment of 2.6 feet. The applicant is requesting to remove the existing fence and replace it in the same location at the same height and style. Staff finds that no adverse change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by replacing the existing fence with the same setback. The property is located at the intersection of North Tezier Drive and West Vina Del Mar Boulevard and functions as a corner lot. The configuration of the lot, driveway, and pool area creates a unique layout that is consistent with other nearby properties that also have fencing within similar setbacks. In general, staff finds the application analysis adequately supports the request based on the following. The fence could be relocated to meet the 20-foot setback. However, moving the fence back would significantly reduce the usable area of the side yard and diminish privacy and security for the in-ground pool. Although the age of the existing fence is unknown and no permits could be located for its installation, the applicant has indicated that it has been a functional improvement to the property for over a decade. The current fence is deteriorated and in need of replacement to ensure pool safety and property security. Historical aerial imagery supports the idea that the fence in this location has existed for many years, and it is a replacement will maintain the established visual character along the street frontage. Motions to approve case number 25095 is proposed, or with recommended staff recommendations or additional conditions proposed by the board. As it is, replacement of the fencing within the secondary front yard setback shall be installed at 17.6 feet location and shall not exceed the height and style of the existing fence as part of the plan submitted. All replacement fencing shall comply with applicable building codes and permitting requirements. Or motion to deny case number 25095, or motion to continue case number 25095 to date certain.
Thank you.
Here to take any questions you may have. I believe the applicant is here as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Thank you. If the applicant would please come forward.
I think you have to be sworn in.
She was here. She was.
I know.
That's okay. Do you swear or affirm that the information or factual representation that you are about to give is truthful?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, Danielle Miklish, 2373 West Vina Del Mar Boulevard.
If you would like to just give your explanation of the.
I've owned the house for over 13 years. That fence was there when I moved in. Obviously, Hurricane Helene affected all of us, and then came behind it Milton. So the fence was already a little on stumbly legs after Helene. Milton came and did kind of the final 1-2 punch. We put the fence back together again as best we could, which is why it looks the way that it does. We have dogs, so it's important that, they have obviously their fenced-in yard. So really, all I want to do is go back with the identical thing. I'm not changing height, I'm not changing color, I'm not changing style. It's just to go back exactly what's been there forever.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions for that applicant? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If there's anybody here that would like to support or contest this application, now would be the time to share that information with the board. Hearing none, we'll close public comment and open for board discussion.
Feel straightforward.
Pretty straightforward.
Want to repair, not improve. Just
Yep. We did not have any letters for this case for or against either, but it's a
No letters
one-for-one
received.
replacement. And I think the sooner she can get her fence back before storm season, the better. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that the board approve case number 25095 as proposed.
With conditions?
There are no conditions.
There were conditions,
There was-
with the permits, but she would.
Well, as proposed, that it be the same height and
And the
location.
materials and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, so exact replacement.
Exactly.
Yeah. I second that.
Roll call, please.
Member Core,
Approve, yes.
Vice Chair Garshaw,
Yes.
Member Small,
Yes.
Member Causey,
Yes.
Chair Chase.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Easy.
Moving on to case number 25097, 6460 Fourth Palm Point.
May I have the PowerPoint, please? Okay. Good afternoon, Chair, board members, Kristen Coleman, Senior Planner. Today we have variance case number 25097, located at 6406 Fourth Palm Point. It is a practical difficulty variance by Daniel and Janice Bofinger. They're requesting construction of an elevated front open entry staircase on a new single-family dwelling where the proposed front yard setback of 12 feet, where 17 feet is proposed, or is required, my apologies, and looking for relief from Land Development Code Section 6.22B. Here is an aerial of the site. The property is outlined in red. It is a waterfront parcel. It is located on a cul-de-sac of Fourth Palm Point and contains a single-family residence, also single-family to the north, south, east, and Boca Ciega Bay to the west. The property is located in the RU1 zoning district. And here is a survey of the existing dwelling and site improvements. As noted, they're looking to construct a new dwelling on the property, but I wanted to show you what currently exists on the property. The home currently does meet the required setback of the 20 feet, which is the principal dwelling setback. Whereas in our land development code, we do allow for open entry staircases to go to 17 feet. So we do offer that consideration right now. So the parcel currently contains a single-family residence and improvements. They recently did apply for the demolition permit of the existing dwelling, as well as the pool and other site improvements. They do have a dock which is to remain. And the proposed new dwelling is part of the reason why they're here today. Okay, here's the site plan showing the layout of the new dwelling. It's kind of hard to see, but the building envelope you can see with the dotted line, it has a 20-foot rear yard setback, the 7-foot on each side yard setback, and the 20-foot required setback for the actual dwelling and the open front staircase. You'll see the 17-foot property line, and then they're showing the proposed. And this is just an enlargement of that variance request.
So just,
Yep.
or we can
Sorry.
come back to that when you're done.
No, that's okay. No, we
Do you
can-
want to take questions? Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Just to clarify, so
Sure.
the lines that you're showing with that
Sure.
red area is suggesting that it's really about the staircase to, I don't know if this is a north, south, east, west, but it's to the west if it was due north on this? Is that right? Just the staircase?
So
That
to
is
the
out.
left side, that is actually, yes, that is the area. So because it's on the cul-de-sac and it has that pie kind of shaped in the front, we follow that same shape in determining the setback.
So for the most part, it's just the second
That one
staircase down that is
Correct.
encroaching. Okay.
Correct, and I'll show you the front elevation coming up too, so you can kind of see.
Yeah.
And there is the front elevation. So you see they have the split staircase that is coming down, and I wanted to include the proposed first floor plan so that you can see the layout of that.
Is this simply just about the staircase?
Correct.
Nothing else? The house itself is perfectly fine within?
Code.
Yes, that does meet the setbacks. But as you can see, and I'll get into it a little bit more in the presentation, it does have a covered front porch and covered rear porch. So,
And it's one side of the staircase? It's-
correct.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's not both. Got it.
And we, of
There's
course,
only one side of the staircase.
Yeah,
If you-
so if you go back,
Go back one slide, Kristen, see how,
Oh, I see.
if it was only coming down the one side, it wouldn't have required
Correct.
the variance.
Is the reason then for two staircases just because it'll look better that way?
Aesthetics, I'm sure. I think that's what.
But we can have the
testimony is.
applicant
We'll
have the
attest to
applicant
that.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
sure. So I'm just going to bring you onto the property. The sign was posted on August 20th, and noticing was completed as required. Staff did receive 2 letters of support on this proposal from both adjacent property owners. Okay, this is just a picture of the rear yard. Again, this dwelling will be demolished as well as the pool. It does look like the owners at a later time are looking to install a new pool later down the road once they're in. This is on the south side yard. So if you're looking at the front of the property and you're headed to the left, and just a view from the dock, so you can see the adjacent neighbor to the right. Just another view. And that is the north side yard. And I just wanted to give this this slide as a comparison of, I went and I researched what was happening in the area due to Hurricanes Helene and Milton. And to give you the aerial Google image so you could see kind of what was there, may not always be what is there now, but I researched all the parcels around it. So if it is indicated with an R, that is they elected to repair. They weren't substantially damaged, they're going to repair. A D is demolished, so 6460 is going to demolish, as well as a neighbor to the west at 6441. And then the neighbor directly to the south is FEMA compliant. So just give you an idea.
Thank you.
Okay, so as part of the staff findings report, we did request that the applicant should give us some additional testimony as part of their proposal and explain whether other alternatives were considered, such as adjusting the depths of the front and rear covered porches or modifying the front entry area to allow for an inset start to the stairs, or evaluating the necessity of the front stairs, and if so, why those options were not proposed. Again, this is a new dwelling, new construction, where the design kind of originated from to give that substantial evidence. The applicant should provide background information on the preference for the design in the new dwelling, and if any other designs were considered that may not have required relief. And the applicant should provide testimony regarding any potential alternatives if the variance should not be approved. And with that, I have motion options, but the applicant should be here to address any testimony, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kristen. Sure. Any questions for Kristen before we hearing from the applicant?
One, did you happen to see if there was any precedent that this was something that was happening in the neighborhood architecturally, or is there
No, pretty much.
setback with that type of a, I guess, cul-de-sac area?
Right. In looking at it, and again, no, like, surveys could not be obtained for all of them. I did look, as we saw in that prior slide, of what was in the area. Most do appear to meet the setback requirement, as well as the current dwelling that is on there. So that was kind of why staff is asking for that additional testimony. And again, there's going to be a new home constructed at 6441. The plans aren't in at this time with that. It was recently demolished when staff went out to do a site visit, and that is down. But most are single family, one story
Okay.
in that area.
Can you pull up the current home one more time?
Sure.
In the front picture, I was looking, okay, so currently it's just a single entry, and then they're introducing a driveway that has, did I see that properly, where it's a
Yes.
circle drive, or?
I
I'm not
will,
sure
let
what
me,
you referred
there
to.
you go.
Okay, so they're introducing 2 garages and, okay.
2 garages, they still have the single entry at the base floor, or the ground floor, and then they have the staircase going up to the actual first
Would be
habitable
two
floor.
driveways then?
Correct.
essentially.
Would you, does the nature of the cul-de-sac formation of the lot impact why it's simply the one side versus the other of the?
So going back to the site plan showing the layout, as you can see, the house is not,
It's not yeah.
it is kind of askew from where the existing home is. And I apologize, I should have probably done a side-by-side comparison of the existing versus proposed survey. But the way that it is angled, they do meet their side yard setbacks as well as the rear just to the, like by the skosh. So that is part of staff's questions as to the testimony of it. It isn't straight on. They did kind of adjust it so that they could fit if you want to say the outline or the footprint in there.
Okay. Anything else for Kristen? The applicant would like to please come forward.
Hi, excuse me, Dan Boffinger, 6464th Palm Point. My wife Janice and I are the owners. And, the challenge is the pie-shaped lot. It's, our house, let me go back first. Our house was damaged in Helene, and, we've lived there for about 14 years, and we went through a lot with the remediation and everything, which many people have as well. So we made the decision that rather than rebuild and risk another storm, to raise the property and build a new home, an elevated home that meets all the criteria for compliance. We're looking at it. We designed a home, kind of an aging in place home. My wife's had a knee replacement. We've both had our back issues, and my hip's probably coming up soon. And so we've kind of designed something that would fit us well down the road. So I have another drawing here of the stairs. I don't know if this is helpful. Project that.
Maybe up the overhead projector, please.
Zoom in, please.
I would turn that around a little bit.
Can you just, spin it? There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
If you could zoom in a little, that would be helpful too, just so you can see the setback lines better. So the highlighted area in yellow is the actual portion that encroaches past the 17-foot line. And then the other arc towards the street, that's the outside part. That would be the 12-foot line. So there's 5 feet of the one side of the steps that encroaches past the setback. As far as the configuration of the lot, when you elevate a structure, you obviously need to get to the front entrance, and the pie-shaped lot, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. I mean, it's wider in the back. We have fantastic views. That's all great. But when you come to the front, it creates a challenge because you have limited access to the front of the building. Our next-door neighbors to the south, the McGraths, they have an elevated structure. Actually, it's kind of similar in design of what we're looking at, more of a coastal look or Key West type look. And with their house being elevated, the bay views to the Corey Bridge are more towards the right, to the northwest. And, in discussions, we're concerned we're going to build a structure that's going to block their view as well. So we do have a letter from the McGraths in support of that. And actually, I have a letter from my neighbor to the north, which I think you have both of those. And I have a third letter from 6471, neighbor Bill, who I ran into when I got here on Monday, which I'd be glad to hand
You
out.
can provide that.
So the house we're looking to build is, the footprint's actually much smaller than our existing house. It's about 25% plus smaller, the structure is. Square footage wise, it's with the couple bedrooms in the upper level, it's I think 300 or 400 square feet larger. So it's not like a significantly larger house. We did not want a big, giant rectangle like you see a lot of them going up. We wanted something that more suits the community and the beach vibe, and something that appeals to us and will appeal to the neighbors. I worked with a great architect, EDAD. They have a good reputation, and we tried shifting the house on the lot various ways to get the stairs compliant. If I shift the house, to the south, towards my neighbor with the two-story. It still will not fit the way it's configured. The 5-foot encroachment, there's some discussion in the notes about making the deck smaller. Well, we're actually going, with our existing house, we'd walk out back at that level and we'd have more outdoor space, and that's where we spend our time, outdoors. So with the elevated structure, we wanted, as much outdoor space as we could get, and the deck size in the back seemed to be adequate. But if we were to make that narrower to accommodate the stairs, we'd have to take 5 feet off it, which would leave a 7-foot wide deck. And, you put a table out there for dining, some chairs, it's really a challenge that way. So going back and forth on where the house sits on the lot and, the other parts of the structure that could be changed, we were not successful. So we looked at the stairs specifically next. And we came up, the only design we came up with that got us closer was if you were to reduce the lower landing, or the middle landing, I guess, when you step down from the front to the landing, if we were to reduce the size of that and then have the remaining stairs go back under the house, it created some other issues. There's always aesthetic issues, but I'm tall, so when I would go down those steps, then there would be the overhang of the front porch, and we're trying to get away from that from our existing home because, our existing home was built in 1972. It's got lintels going out to the Florida room, and I don't have to duck, but it kind of feels a little tight at times. So that aspect of the stairs going back under was not really appealing, and it was very tight with the landing. And then the other aspect of that was kind of there's two other aspects, sorry. Safety aspect, you can't see who's coming up your steps if they're underneath your porch and not visible. You can't see them from the street either. Or for that matter, if you're exiting the house, if somebody's there. And not that we have any problems where we are, our neighborhood's safe, but there is a little security aspect to it. But probably the biggest issue with the stairs that went back under, they would have to push it more towards the house, the whole structure of the stairs, and it would require that the first step at the top was recessed into the front deck. And that was like a deal killer because it's a trip hazard. If somebody's at your front door, you're talking to somebody, they turn around and they make a bad step, it's dangerous. So, and my wife particularly was not supportive of that, and I agree. So then we tried, well, let's just lop off the right side of the stairs, and then there's a small piece of the landing that would still come into play. So working with the architect, we tried different configurations, some other designs, something that didn't look too commercial, and we chose to go the route of a practical difficulty because it is in fact the pie-shaped lot and the narrowing at the front of the property that's creating the issue. The neighbors are supportive. I highly doubt that anybody that would drive by the house or look at the property would say, oh, look at those stairs there, that's pretty close, because it just doesn't appear that way with our neighbors to the north. We have landscaping there. A lot of it will need to be replaced, which we will do. We're very much tree plant lovers, and we'll make the place look very nice. So trying to think of if there's anything else I could add. There was something said about the design is not typical of the neighborhood. Well, we do have another two-story, we have two more two-story homes on our property, and it sounds like we're going to have a third. But again, our neighbors to the south, the house is similar type, not design, but aesthetic, so. Anything else I can answer for you?
I think that's a very comprehensive overview. Thank you. Does the board have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a question. So I noticed the house to your south, that they decided to turn their staircase, I guess, in one direction on the front there. So to stay in the, I guess, the setback. And
Well, they don't have the pie-shaped lot, though, so that's been the challenge. If our lot was rectangular, we probably wouldn't have an issue, but.
so I guess one thing that the staff was asking about, is it necessary? And it's supposed to be one of the conditions. So it looks to me like you could turn the steps in a direction that it wouldn't really infringe at all. So it seems like you're just trying to have a balanced look to the front of the house.
I did scale it, and it would not fit by turning it, bringing the steps in. The deck portion in the back would cross the 20-foot setback, and it also changes the neighbor's vantage point, being that it's a two-story and turning more towards their home, because it would have to go forward. We did explore that.
Yeah, so looking at the overhead view, I see the 4 post marks there that support the landing, the midway landing, where the stairs turn. So if you, it looks like only one of those posts is over into the setback. One of the 4.
Yeah. So I'm not following what you're.
Oh, I'm just saying, if when you're looking at this picture,
Yeah, there is
and
a
you're
part
coming
of the
down the
landing
steps,
that
if you
does-
turn to the right and eliminate the option of going to the left, it eliminates most of the setback problem. So it shows you at 29% over right now.
But again, we're trying to be respective of the neighbor's view as well.
Well, I don't see how that would affect the neighbor's view in any way. You wouldn't be adding anything from what you have. I guess
remove the one flight?
No, I'm asking why not remove. Is that what you said? Yes, remove.
You're saying turn the house and remove?
No.
Just during this flight of stairs?
There is 2 flights of stairs where they meet the ground. And if you were to remove the yellow part in your diagram and keep everything else, it would cut out almost all of the encroachment.
It would take out part of the landing, too.
There's a small portion.
Would the landing require a variance, Kristen?
That's what I wanted to know.
Where it is now, it would, but it would be a very small encroachment.
Yeah, right. I'm following what you're saying. It's basically the stairwell the landing would have 1 staircase down versus 2. And then what you're saying is you still have, say, a corner of your landing that is still encroaching
Yes.
modestly into the 17-foot setback requirement. Is that what we're seeing, and since we can't quite measure that out?
Another way to look at it too, and I apologize if I took out the big plans, I could scale it off, but if you look at it, can we have the overhead back up just so I can explain? So if you see how on the covered front porch, the staircase actually goes down like a V. If it came straight off, I don't know if this has been looked at, instead of coming down like that, and it's such a wide opening, and I can't scale it off without opening the plans, but it seems pretty wide because it then goes down, to probably like maybe 4 feet. So there is that greater, and it kind of constricts down. If it was just a straight shot, maybe, That could be, if you lessen that opening at the covered front porch, that might be able to be shifted a little bit or reconfigured. I think it's the design of it, that it's wider at the top and it veers down, may have some play on that, so.
Could we see again the design?
Sure.
It'll help, I mean, I see this, but then when we see what the house looks like,
The front elevation might be a good,
no.
We have that.
Proposal that,
Yep, I'm getting there. Yeah.
Okay, to the right, that's the original proposal, the single staircase down the center?
No, that is the proposed front elevation, so this is what they're proposing. As you see, it has the wide opening at the covered front porch. It then gets narrower as it comes down. So the stairs maybe, let's say, I'm not sure, just like 8 feet opening, goes down to maybe like a 4-foot opening, how it just kind of V's in and veers in, and then they have that landing, and then it goes down a split staircase to the left or right. So when you go.
is that an entrance to the house that's underneath?
That is correct. That is another entrance.
Is the single stairwell straightforward an option that was
That's
looked at?
basically what I was getting.
Yeah, it'll encroach more. Coming straight down, yes.
Oh, yeah, but, or no, with your landing still, but just to the one direction rather than both.
So to the landing and then to the left, or to
Correct.
one direction. It still would not fit as it's drawn, no.
Was it what was the setback there then?
I don't recall.
Okay.
It's the landing portion. I mean, unless we squeeze down the landing, but
The corner of the landing, correct? Like the corner?
it's hard to see on the drawing.
Yeah. But we're looking at a foot, I don't know. I don't.
Maybe a foot versus a 5-foot, like
Right,
just, you
right,
know.
just for that post to hold up the landing.
And as far as egress, if you look on the front elevation to the left side, which is also the southern side, they have another staircase to go up to the back,
I had,
which does meet compliance, just for the record.
right. So I had another question. I wondered if you considered a curve staircase that would come from the center door area and then curve around towards the driveway, towards the left direction. That would avoid all of the setback, any encroachment at all.
I think we discussed it. I don't remember the details of the outcome. I mean, it's not, architecturally, it's not real fitting to the house, but I don't remember the details, sorry.
That's all the questions I had.
Okay. But again, if it weren't, it's the pie-shaped lot specifically on the north side that's creating the issue.
Thank you. Any other additional
And you
questions?
said that when I know you went through, and I really appreciate what you've shared, and, but just to clarify, you looked at this front, what you're calling a front porch decking, at different widths coming off of the house?
Yes.
Remind us or me, what is the width of it now?
I think I don't know, it might be 8 foot. I have to check the drawings.
Okay, and then you assessed it to go back, what, by a foot, or, well, it would have been much more substantial, I
mean,
guess.
You'd need to gain 5 feet to get that section of the stairs there.
I'm just curious, why do you want to have staircases at all when you have a staircase on the, as I'm looking at it, the left side, and you have an entrance right there in the front, and you've got garages? I assume you can get out from the garages as well. I don't even know
You
what.
eliminate an entrance to the main living floor?
Well, isn't that what you have on the side?
That goes to the rear deck.
so for fire, I think you need,
Yes.
you need
Multiple.
two, yeah.
Code.
But there is access on the ground floor, and you do have an elevator, correct?
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily that it would be.
Unoccupied space too, so, I mean, if you don't want to bring people in through your garage.
Got it, understood.
Any additional questions? Thank you, sir.
Did we do disclosures? I forgot.
We can do them now. Any ex parte?
No.
None for me.
No.
I did a site visit.
Now would be the time, if you're here to speak on behalf or in opposition of this case, to share that feedback with the board. Hearing none, we'll close public comment and open for board discussion.
I guess the one thing it would be helpful to understand is what type of impact just having the landing and not the staircase coming down, if the applicant's even open to that. But it sounds like, because I thought when you presented, you were saying there wasn't going to be a need for a variance if the stairs were coming down just one side, but.
Well, staff looked at a couple different things. So the front porch the rear porch is 12 feet in depth, and then the front, is 7 foot 10 inches. So almost approximately 8 feet. So we have the square footprint of the house, but then you have the porches, which are not, I mean, they're not the habitable part. But staff was just asking if you either took a couple feet from each side, if we could just shrink that, would you be able to make that up? Is there any other feasibility that there could be in order to meet those setback requirements? If you want that kind of staircase, there could be other alternative staircase designs, and that's what staff is really looking at as far as from a variance or a practical difficulty. Is there any other measures that could be taken in order to meet compliance, especially in connection with the new dwelling?
Yep.
I know.
I think that's the trickiest part of this, is it's new construction, right? And so we're try to get as creative as we can, but at the end of the day, if there is another way to build a new home, like, we want that home to be as compliant as possible. Initially, I was thinking, like, from a difficulty perspective, since there's 2 garages and then being able to enter from both sides, I can see the ease in that, but there's also, you're most likely going to be entering from inside the house if you're in the garage. And so it's really for people entering the home externally. And in my opinion, if there was 1 staircase versus 2, that doesn't really impact their nature.
The functionality.
Yeah, or the functionality.
It's aesthetics, basically, is what it gets down to. And that's the end of the day. And this is new construction, and it doesn't meet the requirements. So what do we do?
And I
To that, I mean, we are the Board of Adjustments. Do we adjust for aesthetics?
It is, I mean, it is a pie-shaped lot that is, more challenging to build upon. But it's one thing if you're dealing with a structure that's already on the pie-shaped lot, which we see. But when you're building something new to that, it's something that I think you have to kind of work through.
So what you're saying is, because it's new construction, there are other options that could be drawn up?
That's where I tend to fall.
I tend to think that too.
If you came down the staircase and you went just to the right, it seems like we'd be okay.
Yeah.
Other than maybe a variance for the post going up to hold the landing, correct?
We're visually looking straight up.
Yeah.
To the south.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of new construction going on around here, and I think probably for setting a precedent, we want to have people say, look, this is your lot, it's new construction. It's not like we were talking about the fence that has always been there. This is brand new.
Right.
And there will be cases where there really is no other way, right?
Correct.
And that, but I think in an instance where it's a aesthetic feature and there are potential other ways to design it, we just have to be smart about this.
What do you say about the neighbors in support? They've seen these drawings. If I was my neighbor, I'd be like, well, I'd like to have a nicer house beside me for my home value.
Well, I think it's great. I think we want our neighbors to all have great homes, and I'm sure this is going to be a beautiful home. But ultimately, I think we have to
adhere
as
to
you were
code.
saying, I think as much as possible, yes. And I mean, that's where I would lean towards understanding more if the applicant's open to it, to having us look at a variant specific to having that landing, as opposed to having
Correct.
the extension of the stairs.
And the one slide that was shaded yellow. If you took that, I mean, we're talking How much room?
Well,
Inches, right?
Ralph, do you want to, or you want?
So it sounds like there's a couple options. You could ask them to look at other options and bring them back next month. Or you could approve it with conditions. One of those would be to remove the area shown in yellow on that slide. So they would effectively have stairs going only one way. And grant the variance for the landing portion.
Right.
But I think I would want I as staff would want to see that to make sure we're approving what, if there is a variance, what we're approving. I would want the board to see
Come
it.
back with a new plan.
I think that's probably the best option, is to redesign it, come back with something that fits the rules, and it would be easy for us, because
Well, if
We'd
they,
only have to come back if there was a variance
Yeah, yeah.
required, and if it
Looks like
was,
If they were just to take out the yellow part, as you were talking about, without doing anything else, then there would be a small portion of the landing that would need a variance. But it would be a more minimal variance than the variance that they're requesting today.
and if the applicant is amenable to that, rather than if you were leaning towards a denial, at least you would have another opportunity to present something of a lesser variance, or tell us more information that it isn't going to be to
is everybody in agreement of providing that opportunity
That
to the
was my
applicant?
point.
Any of those options?
And to his point, I mean, if you curved it, maybe that aesthetically, that would look nicer.
Yeah, that's just an opinion of
Yeah.
what looks good, right?
Would the applicant please come forward? So I think what you're hearing is your house is beautiful and we want you to have the house that, is designed, but we're also really trying to stay true to the code when we're working with new construction. And so we'd like to provide the opportunity for you to rethink this with your architect and come back and present any opportunities to decrease the variance request if possible, or eliminate it altogether. Is that something that you would be open to?
Otherwise, they can vote today, yes or no.
I'm struggling with it, I guess for a couple of reasons. You're saying you may accept a partial variance with the landing, but not with the additional steps. So it's still an encroachment.
I can address that one piece if we want to go through your different concerns. So when we are looking at a variance, we're oftentimes looking at the magnitude of the ask, right?
I'm sorry?
At the magnitude of the ask, it's not necessarily is one needed or not, it's to what extent are we making an exception.
Minimal variance needed to use the land.
There. So that's why we'd be open to reviewing.
In this house, like I said, it's 25% smaller footprint. The impervious surface is under 50%, less than the existing home. So I think we've done everything. When you elevate a home, we're in a VE flood elevation, which is the worst you can be in. So we have to go up fairly high, and that is what creates the challenge to get to the front door. And then you put the pie-shaped lot in there. Everything kind of compounds itself. So I guess I'm disappointed that the way it's being seen. I think it's, the house really will add to the community. Like I said, we thought about, should we build like our 5-bedroom rectangle like a lot of people are doing, and we didn't want to go down that route. So I guess I can't answer if I have to go back to the architect, I'm writing more checks. If I have another variance, do I have another variance fee?
This would be a continuation of your current variance, so there would be no additional fees from the application. And I want to reiterate, what you've done is a ton of work. The fact that the neighbors like it, we see all of that. We're just in a position to have to make sure that we're approving, particularly when it's a brand new construction, a true hardship variance. And so,
Well, it's a practical difficulty. It's not I wouldn't say it's a hardship, but it's a practical difficulty. And, we tried configuring the home many ways and couldn't get it to fit on the lot. The narrow front kind of threw the curve at us. And then exploring the different staircase variations. Like I said earlier, we don't want something that looks commercial, or, there is an aesthetic piece to it, and that's kind of the charm of the house, so.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question of the applicant?
Please.
As far as the design of it, so your existing home, you have the two-car garage that is located, if you're looking at the house on the left. Everything is in compliance. This one, you opted to do a garage on each end. Did you look at having a design that you had the garage kind of in the same location where everything was in conformance?
No, we
Or-
wanted a coastal Key West kind of
Okay.
style home. And that's how most of them are designed.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we started.
I just wanted to get that testimony on the record as well, as how you came up, with the design that you and your wife love,
Yeah.
but when just looking at what is currently there, it is in conformance.
We're making a big investment in the community too. We could have gone the easy route and patch up our existing house, but, we chose to do something that we feel is gonna, keep the neighbors happy, our family happy, and,
Could you access the porch through the side like you are for the back porch? Access the front porch, they're on the same side, looks like there would be enough room, I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that without
This, but
looking at it deeper.
So that's
double that. Put something similar like that.
wrap that around, I don't
Go flight of stairs up to here.
Yeah, I don't
Instead of from here to there.
aesthetically that's not what he's looking for.
So I think, does the board want to have further discussion based off of the testimony heard, or is it then
No, I
changed?
think it is still a question of whether you want a continuance to relook at it or you want us to vote on it the way it is.
We need to answer that now?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to continue it.
Pardon?
I don't want to continue
You do
it.
not want to continue. You would like for us to proceed to vote?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any initial discussion or continued discussion outside of making a motion?
I don't have any.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
No, I don't.
Make a motion to deny variance case number 25097.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I would second.
Roll call, please.
Well, can you repeat exactly what you said?
To-
To deny is what you said, correct?
Based on the fact that we're not seeing that there's a minimum variance needed requested, I would just add that color. And
Yeah,
The fact that
Mm-hmm.
there would be some alternative solutions that would get to a much less substantial variance needed on a new build.
Ready?
Thank you. Roll call?
Vice Chair Garshaw,
Yes.
Member Small,
Yes.
Member Causey,
Yes.
Member Core,
Yes.
Chair Chase.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Right. The next case for today's meeting is, Brandon, do you have the case number?
Yes, it
My iPad is
is
slow to load.
25080.
Sorry.
I would have tried to.
This is a multiple part variance for 3108 Pastor Grill Way. It is a practical difficulty variance. All the requests fall under that classification. Joshua Trosclair for Celeste and Jacob Klitanik III request a 3-part request for 3 separate variances, 5 different dimensional variances. The first is relief to the side setback requirement on the north side to allow for a chimney to remain following elevation of the residence with a setback of 1.4 feet where 3 feet is required. I did want to say that is how it was advertised. That is actually the encroachment. It's less than what was advertised. It's 2.2 feet, but I just kept that for completeness. So they're requesting less, but it does still need a variance. Relief to the rear, which is the alleyway setback on the west side, to allow for the detached accessory garage and cottage to remain at their current respective setbacks of 2.3 feet and 0.8 feet respectively, following substantial improvement of the primary dwelling where 20 feet is required, and the existing one-story garage to remain with a southern side setback of 3.6 feet, where 10 feet is required. This is pursuant to Land Development Code Section 3.10E1. The first request was 3.10B3C. The third item, this is the only new addition under this scope, is a variance for the front setback requirement on the east side to allow for construction of an open deck at stairs at 9.4 feet, where 17 feet is required. This is pursuant to Land Development Code Section 6.22B and 12.7A1. You can see here an aerial of the property. It is a double lot at the northern side of the Paso Grill Overlay District. Paso Grill, from a zoning perspective, starts at 32nd Avenue, so it's just at the very northern end of the district. It has the residential medium Paso Grill overlay zoning. Residential medium does allow for multi-unit properties, not in the arrangement that the applicant currently has, but because of that Paso Grill overlay, they are able to retain what they currently have in the lot, even with a substantial improvement to the structure. They have a single-family home on the east side that's a primary structure that's being elevated, and then on the west side they do have a detached cottage that contains a residential unit. So as I mentioned before, this is partially a request for retention of existing buildings and setbacks following a substantial improvement to the primary structure on the property. Both the cottage and the garage are remaining where they are. Those are not being substantially improved. They're not being, there's no additions to those structures. They're not getting a new level or being elevated. However, the Land Development Code does require when a structure is non-conforming that it be relocated from the required property lines when the primary structure is substantially improved. They're looking to retain the cottage on the west side as well as the garage at the back of the property. Again, not relocating them, not elevating them, adding on to them. They're just looking to keep them at their current setbacks following substantial improvement of the main dwelling. On the east side of the residence, they are proposing stairs and a deck that will encroach to 9.4 feet, where 17 feet is required. They currently have entry steps that encroach to 14 feet from that primary front property line. They're proposing 9.4 feet for the deck. And then on the north side, there's a requirement that when a home be elevated, it can be elevated in place, but the home does need to be offset at least 3 feet from any property line. The wall of the structure itself does meet that setback on the north side, but they do have a chimney on the north side that they're looking to extend and keep in place. That will extend to 2.2 feet, again, where 3 feet is required. And I'll show that here, starting at the north, which is the top of the screen. You can see that chimney bump out in the center of the structure. That is just being extended up with the structure when it is elevated. On the east side, you can see the stairs that radiate out from a deck, and I'll show on the next slide the proposal. And then on the west side, you can see the existing one-story building at the center of the lot, and then at the south side on the bottom of the screen. This is showing the improvement. So again, starting at the north side, you can see the chimney where 3 feet is required. That has been modified to be a 2.2 foot encroachment, and that is retaining the existing setback. On the east side, on the right side, you can see the deck that extends out to 9.4 feet where 17 feet is required. There is no living area being added in this elevation. They're only adding on decks to the east and to the west side facing the alley. You can see with the hatching on the west side of the structure within the interior of the courtyard. They are also adding a deck. However, this does comply with the setback. They don't need a variance for that deck on the west side, only for the east side. And then you can see the setbacks that were mentioned before going over to the west side, which is the alleyway side. They are looking to retain that existing cottage in the center of the structure, or center of the lot, at 0.8 feet where 20 feet is required. And then at the southwest corner, they're proposing to keep a structure with a 2.3 foot rear setback on the west side, a 3.6 foot side setback on the south side, where 20 and 10 feet are required respectively under the current code. Here's some photos of the site, looking from Paso Grill Way to the west, showing that existing structure that will be elevated. You can see the stairs there that will be removed and converted to a deck and stairs to access the now elevated living level. You can see here the north side where that chimney will be extended. The air conditioning unit will also be raised in this current location. You can see here the cottage, that's toward the center of the lot. That is proposed to remain, again, not elevated, not being added onto. They're just seeking to keep this structure following substantial improvement of the primary home. And then you can see the garage here to the right side of the screen, the existing non-conforming side setback and the rear setback from the alley. Again, not looking to improve, just looking to retain the structure where it's currently located.
So you're saying that's what we're looking at on the right here is the garage?
Correct.
How do you get your car in?
It's not currently used as a garage. It was developed as a garage. They do have parking on the site currently. I believe it's used as storage, but the applicant can address that. And then looking on the lot toward the south, again toward that converted garage. Sorry, I think I got some other photos in mind. So we did ask the applicant for a few for comments pertaining to this variance. They have decided to elevate. The city had assessed a 34% damage to the primary structure. Based on that estimate, the structure was determined by the city, at least, to have been non-substantially damaged. We have not reevaluated that assessment. The applicant has moved forward with a voluntary elevation of their structure, which would meet the floodplain management ordinance as well as the Florida Building Code. I just asked the applicant to speak if there was additional damage that they determined necessitated the elevation of the primary residence. They have not presented, I know under the building code scope, or under the building permit scope, they have not proposed any plans to improve the cottage or garage. I'm just questioning whether they have any forthcoming plans to add on to or improve either of those structures, and whether they've assessed whether either has sustained substantial damage. And this item did go to the Historic Preservation Board. Currently, the structure is the primary structure is considered a contributing historic resource due to the degree of elevation of the building. I do believe that the elevation is architecturally compatible. It does meet the design requirements for the Paso Grillo Overlay District, but because of the degree to which the home is being elevated, it's more than 10 feet. They are likely to lose that contributing status. The main residence would no longer be considered a historic residence should it be elevated. One of the main benefits of having that historic designation is to remove the need to elevate the structure. They're obviously bringing the structure into compliance, but in doing so, they were granted a 10-foot setback encroachment from the Historic Preservation Board. They're only asking for an additional 0.6-foot encroachment beyond that, but I would just like the applicant to justify if that additional about half a foot is necessary under the Board of Adjustments approval, or if they could go forward with the waiver that was granted by the Historic Preservation Board.
Real quick, Brandon, so is the variance really 9.4 feet where 10 has been approved?
They have been
at this point, like
correct. The Land Development Code standard is 20 feet, but they could, if the board were to not approve that request, they could still move forward with the 10-foot waiver that was provided by the Historic Board.
And just to add to that, also just to be clear, all the other variances that are listed are existing on the home and have been for decades?
100 years. That's
Thank you. Okay.
Home, I believe, is 100 years old.
I want to make that very clear and on record, too.
Is there anything, so if the house is going to be elevated 10 feet, you said?
Slightly over 10 feet, yes.
So is anything going to go under the house then?
It's going to be used for parking and storage, I believe. The applicant can speak to that.
If you want these for the overhead, they weren't part of that, but there's a picture in that.
Yes, so you can see here, looking at the top left, that is the structure viewed from Paso Grillo Way. You can see the screening. It is enclosed under the north side of the structure, and then you can see a screened area. And then if you go over to the rear elevation, that's the bottom left, looking from the alley, there is that garage door there. So parking and storage and access, which is what the floodplain management regulations allow.
And Brandon, where's the 10 feet and the 9.4 on that diagram?
See if I can make those out.
Just generally point to the area we're talking about.
So existing grade is at 4 feet, and the finished floor post elevation will be at 17 feet. So it will actually be elevated. It'll be 13 feet to the finished floor of the residence as it's being elevated, but I believe they currently have about a 2-foot elevation, so it's about 11-foot difference. So,
Thank you, Brandon.
thank you.
I got one question. So if it's currently approved by the historic board, and you're saying raising it is going to kick it out of the historic preservation qualification, would that, I don't understand how that meshes together. I mean, how can you, if you're currently approved for a certain configuration, then you're going to do something to the house that wouldn't be allowed, it seems like.
So they have the powers at this point in time because it is associated with a contributing structure, but likely moving forward, the Historic Preservation Board has allowed limited variance powers. They're actually waivers to setbacks for historic homes when the home is a contributing structure. So what I mentioned with the I'm asking for applicant testimony on the cottage and garage if they're looking for future additions. The setbacks that were stated at the beginning of the presentation, those would be the setbacks moving forward for this structure because it is no longer considered a contributing resource, and they would need to come forward to the Board of Adjustment for any future improvement based on the zoning code, not based on the waiver powers the Historic Board can provide. That's an incentive the Historic Board can provide homeowners to keep their structures contributing. In this case, they're welcome to elevate the home, but they would lose that benefit by virtue of the structure not being a historic resource.
Any additional questions for Brandon?
No, that's covered that.
We could just flip back to the slide. So, as always, we ask for motion to approve this case, either with or without staff conditions, or they're approved by the board. I only have one proposed condition should you look to approve this case today, and it's effectively that the existing setbacks for the detached garage and cottage are approved only in their current footprint, at their current height and their elevations. So this is not any kind of future variance for them to elevate these structures, add on. Future additions to or extension or elevation of the structures shall require compliance with the relevant setbacks afforded to the structures based on their zoning district standards and or the non-conforming structure improvement standards as amended, or they would always be eligible to apply for a subsequent variance. You could motion to approve this case as proposed. If you feel that the applicant hasn't met the burden of proof, you can motion to deny, or if you need additional information, motion to approve or continue this case to a future Board of Adjustment date pending submittal of additional requested information. So I know the applicant is present. I'm happy to take any other questions.
We're ready to hear from the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you.
The applicant can please come forward.
I didn't know if you needed them, but.
My name is Celeste Claytenic. I'm at 3108 Pasagrille Way. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Fine.
I guess to answer Brandon's questions, we decided to lift the house basically because we don't want to incur future flooding damage. You know, we don't want to have to do repairs again, and we want to save the house. And so we're watching all these beautiful historic homes in Pasagrille get demolished. And we're fortunate that we were not in that situation, but we know that this year, next year, or 10 years from now, we could be, and we just don't want to be. We want to save the house. We didn't make that determination based on the substantial damage. We didn't know what our damage was when we made that decision. And I had actually reached out to Patrick, I think around November, first week of November, and said, hey, we want to look at lifting. So. We have no plans for the garage or the cottage. We're using them for storage right now. And we don't plan on lifting them. We don't plan on adding on to them. You know, none of that. They're older structures. We don't believe that they had substantial damage. But we're not even worried about that. We want to get back in our beach house. So the front deck and stairs. So we looked at a bunch of different designs, and the only one that came close to meeting that 10-foot historic district setback is the design that we put forward. We looked at having them go straight down one side. Because of the height, we have to have a landing by code. And if we went down to the right side, you'd pretty much, I don't even know that you could step down, you'd crash right into the fence on the property line. On the other side, it would go into the middle of the driveway. And so you know what Paso Grill is like with parking. So the way that the current driveway lip is at the street, you can drive straight in and you can drive straight out, and the stairs would actually they would probably land somewhere toward the left side of the driveway, and really close to our bump out. So we weren't even sure that that would work, because you'd be walking down the stairs and you'd be right into the side of the building. And the deck, we lined up with the existing bump out, and we added that because when their first design just had the stairs, and it looked like a fire escape on the front of our house. And while that's really what it is, it's for safety reasons, so that we have a way to get out of the house from the front. We wanted to kind of keep with the character of the neighborhood and the structure, and we felt that was the best way to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for the applicant?
Well, I'll just ask, so what you're looking at is, we're talking about a half a foot.
Half a foot.
Yes. So when you looked at what I don't know if you're calling it a bump out, but the front decking, what's the width of that?
I don't remember the width of it, but the front deck itself doesn't go out further than, we have like a little bump out at the front, and that bump out is, I think, 10.7 feet from the setback. And the deck lines up with that bump out.
The current bump out of the house, so.
I don't know, I did bring a picture that I printed.
You have to turn it.
Turn it there you go.
Nope. Go back.
There, perfect, yep.
Yeah, so this bump out here,
Okay.
in front of that is 10.7 feet from the property line, and we lined up the deck, so the deck won't extend past that. We just lined it up with that, just really for aesthetics. And then the way the driveway lip is, you pull in and you can park right there.
And I'm assuming the width of these stairs are just to whatever the code is, and they're as tight as hugging the house as you could.
Yeah, that's what the engineer
In order
did,
to
yeah.
bring it back with the landing.
Yes.
Then you're saying this is absolutely the minimum encroachment necessary.
It is my understanding, yes.
And you're not going to park your cars under the house then?
Well, so,
You could, 'cause-
this side of the house, we will have a garage door from the alley, and we'll be able to park under it.
From the back.
alley. Yeah. And then over this part will just be, it'll be open, but we're going to conceal it from the street and landscape. We did a landscape plan. I'm in the process of getting in touch with professional landscapers to help me with it, because
Your house is beautiful.
I'm not going to
by the
be
way.
able to do it.
I love your house.
We love our house. We love it. We love the inside of it. The previous owner was an artist, and it's really cool. And we like it, and we want to be able to use it and use it for generations.
Yeah.
So that's our plan.
Thank you for presenting your plan.
Okay, thank you.
If there's anybody here that would like to speak on behalf or in opposition to this case, now would be the time to share.
I do have two cards. Joe Kuklish.
Can you, by chance, put this back down?
If you said it right.
Oh,
There.
no.
Well, you got to turn it half a turn again. Yeah,
there you
just
go.
like that.
Okay, cool. All right, Joe Kuklish,
Celeste, we love your house too. Jim and I live in the cottage. I love the cottages. Oh, thank you. Anyway, I really don't
Can you
have
just
any.
get your address for the record?
3109 First Street West.
Thank you.
So we don't have any concerns about the setbacks and the variance and all that. But if you look at this, where she has I guess it's a cottage now, there's a shell.
Can you point to it on the map that you put in?
Yeah, okay, right there.
Okay.
That's a shell driveway, and this drawing says it'll be new concrete. The only concern or question really, because I don't know, is that gonna cause potential more water because that alley gets pretty wet, as I'm sure she.
We're hoping that we can keep it seashell so that it matches the alley. So
Okay.
it's just depending on what planning and zoning makes us do, but we would like to keep it seashell.
Cool. Yeah, so I don't know, that was the only thing that got my attention was,
Okay.
is that gonna cause more water? 'Cause
Okay,
there's
thank you.
nowhere to drain. Okay,
Thanks.
you.
we good?
You're good. Is there any additional comments? If you would like to come back, you're welcome to readdress the board. Just wait till you're at the podium if you don't mind. It's okay.
We did send in 2 letters that we received from the adjacent neighbors, so on both sides in support of our.
We did receive those in advance of the
Okay.
meeting. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, we'll close public discussion and open for board conversation.
Well, this is different than the last one, which is a new house. This is a historic house. People are going to have to elevate their houses. We got to do everything we can to let them do that, I hope.
Well, I also think this is a very good example of a minimally request in order, and a very explicit explanation for how they've exhausted all, alternative options, and the staircase is needed for safety purposes.
Correct.
So,
Agreed. Yeah, I love that they're elevating a historic home and not tearing it
Me
down.
too, me too.
And as far as all of the variances, I think in support of just maintaining the historic nature of all of the property makes sense.
Yep.
And yes, appreciate that the effort was made to make this a minimal variance required to approve and support it. I don't know, maybe 13-foot or so elevation home. It's going to be interesting to get in and out of those, and you've got to have some stairs, so.
do we have a motion?
I move to approve case 25080 as they have asked.
With
Well,
Yes,
I'm going to just
staff
say
recommendations.
approved
staff recommendation.
for
And conditions.
existing-
Actually,
yeah.
they had conditions, yeah.
Yes, they have to
Existing.
preserve the existing setback and height on the cottage and the garage. And do we want to put in, we should put shell in there? Make sure the shell doesn't
I don't
replace
think that, I'm
No, I
going to
think
let,
that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we're assuming that it didn't change is the impervious ratio
that'll be,
already figured into this? So they're fine with the concrete as
70/30 is
proposed.
good, yeah.
All right. And then the other condition that I thought was important was if they decide to do another modification to the house in the future, and they're not under that historic thing, then they're going to be required to meet the setbacks on those auxiliary
I think that's just the-
things that are right on the property line, essentially, right?
Yeah. But that isn't a condition,
It
that's more
is.
just informing them that that's the
Oh, okay,
reality.
okay.
do we have the conditions again? Then
Yeah, where are
we
those?
just want to make sure we get crisp on and for the motion. I don't know if you have it handy, you could just put it on the overhead, or you could put it, okay.
There,
There we
perfect.
go, thank you. This was a lot more eloquent than what we just tried to be.
But we can just, we can restate the motion and simply say with conditions as
Yeah.
requested. Can we just restate the motion for the record?
I'll pass on that, go ahead, somebody else try it. I didn't get it right the
Okay,
first time.
I'll make a motion to approve case number 25080 with conditions as presented by staff.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Member Small?
Yes.
Member Causey?
Yes.
Member Core?
Yes,
Vice Chair Garshaw?
Yes.
Chair Chase?
Yes.
Motion carries.
okay.
All right, moving on to the last case for the afternoon, case number 25090535 80th Avenue.
Yes, so this is the property with address of 535 80th Avenue. This is a practical difficulty variance. H. Oliver Payne for Joseph and Diana Skameka request relief for construction of front entry stairs for an elevated non-conforming single-family dwelling with a proposed front yard setback of 8 feet 4 inches where 17 feet is required. This is made pursuant to Land Development Code Section 6.22B. This is not in the historic district, so this is a pretty straightforward request. Here is an aerial of the property. It's along 80th Avenue on the north side, waterfront property. It has a zoning of RU1 residential single-family zoning. You can see here the existing front elevation. You can see from the first slide, it's obviously along undergoing construction. They have received approval to elevate this home. They currently have interior access to the living level through both an elevator and stairs. By currently, I mean it will be, they'll be put in place once the home is elevated. They are proposing an additional front stair to connect in with the landing. You can see there already is an existing defined landing space. They would be putting a landing there, bringing stairs off into the front setback. As I mentioned before, they are elevating the home in place. They are not adding any additional living level or living space, so they are preserving the existing front setback. They are seeking to have a stair with switchback extend off the existing front of the home with a landing created at that front setback line. The existing setback is 15 feet, more or less. One side is 14.8 feet, the other is 15.1. So it is existing non-conforming setback. They are permitted by the Land Development Code to elevate in place. They are proposing a staircase encroachment of 8 feet 4 inches. The Land Development Code was modified last year to allow for stairs to encroach into a required setback greater than what is typically allowed, which is 17 feet for the setback. However, it is only permitted when the stairs can't be accommodated within the interior of the structure or in a means that complies with that setback. In this case, they are accommodating an interior staircase as well as an elevator. They are seeking an additional staircase off the front of the structure. You can see on the left side of the screen, that is the site plan showing the existing approved conditions. They are elevating in place. They have complied with the lot coverage and the other standards related to that. They are also submitting to be able to amend that request to have the stairs encroach into the front yard to a distance of 8 feet 4 inches. Here's some photos of the site showing signposting. The existing home, obviously elevated. More of the lot conditions. Showing the adjacent home to the east side. Most of the homes on the street do have similar front setbacks. Staff has minor comments on this. We do ask that the applicant provide their own testimony. They have described in the application that the reason for this staircase at the front is for an additional means of fire escape should an event occur in the future. They should describe if other alternatives were considered, such as modification of the front entry area to provide an inset start to the stairs, potentially reducing the required setback that is being requested, and if so, why that was not pursued. The applicant should also address whether the owner has provided additional reasons for needing a front staircase in addition to the interior access already provided. As I mentioned before, their statement in the application was that they prefer this for fire purposes should an event occur in the future. I'll go back to the front elevation. I do want to make one comment on the design. It appears that with the switchback style, and the applicant can confirm this. I'm not an engineer or an architect, but it appears that the width of the stairs is the minimum that could be requested. I would like the applicant to address whether the stairs could be offset to the east side and potentially only have one row of stairs. That would result in a lesser encroachment. I believe they would be about 11 feet 6 inches into the front setback if they just had the one row with an offset landing to the east side. They do have a staircase, they do have a garage on the west side of the structure. I'm not sure if it would interact or run into that garage door, but it appears it could clear if they were to offset the landing to the east side and just have the one row of stairs without the switchback design. With that being said, this is a fairly minimal variance. Regardless of the switchback design, it does appear to be the minimal width and the number of treads that are necessary for a stair of this design. Staff does not have any recommended conditions. Motion options would be to approve as proposed, or should the board have any conditions. If you find that the applicant has not supported this case, you could entertain a motion to deny, or if you need additional information, a motion to continue. Happy to answer any questions.
Can I see the picture again, the photograph? Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. So what am I looking at there?
That is the home having been elevated. That is the current condition. That is the front of the structure, looking at it from 80th Avenue.
It's been elevated
Yes.
Yes.
already?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this was, so thank you, because I wanted to go there too. I'm looking at this thinking, it's not what I've been seeing as an elevated home, only from the standpoint that it looked like it's a new build.
That's why I was asking.
Is it a new build, or did they just is that all, I just see all the, or is that upper level, just, did they strip all stucco off and put new
Windows?
green boards on and new windows? It looks,
Like a new roof.
it
Yeah,
looks
windows are
all
tagged.
new versus like what we were just looking at. The previous case was a lift in place.
Brandon, if you go back, there is a front elevation, a Google image. Street.
Okay, yeah, so I was expecting to see that, but on cinder blocks or something, or whatever if it was being elevated in place.
It looks so different as well.
Yeah, we can get testimony from the applicant on the specifics of the.
Yes.
So what we're looking at there, Google View 2022, that's the original house.
Correct.
Now can we see the green? I'm just trying to see how they can possibly be the same. No, the photograph. Yeah. There. It looks really different to me.
There's no gables on the top.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get testimony from the applicant. Any additional questions for Brandon at this time? No. If the applicant can
You
please.
guys do ex parte?
Ex parte. I'm off my game.
I keep forgetting,
No.
sorry.
No, nothing.
No.
None for me.
I did a site visit.
Thank you, Brandon. If the applicant would please come forward.
Hi there. My name's Tolliver Payne. I am the builder here and the designer.
Can you just get your address for the record?
I'm sorry?
Your address for the record, please. Like your personal address.
314 Lutz, Florida.
Thank you.
Midcourt, Lutz, Florida. Little background. Been building houses here in Florida since '85, and I had a friend of mine who wanted me to build a house in St. Pete Beach, the set of Ducatos. I don't know if you know those folks, but we built their house during COVID, and she sent me, during Helene, she sent me some live video of all her neighbors in 4 foot of water with the dog on this side and the child on this side, and their house did very well in the storm. And then she bugged me for about a month to help her friends put their houses back. Now, I wouldn't put them back the way they were, but I would raise them up. So what we're trying to do is give alternatives. And so what we did for Joe and Diane was we took their existing lower level and we built on top of it so that the lower level with no structure to that, we put piers in. So what we were trying to do was, they had a beautiful pool in the back, they had a beautiful lanai area, and we wanted to keep that stuff. And we wanted to try to, particularly on the back where they have some windows on the back, we copied that on the top, but we were able to do this for less money for them, and we're doing 2 or 3 more. Because we saved that lower level, we saved the slab, we saved the block, we saved the windows, we saved the doors that we could save. So we were able to use all of that. So in the redesign, so now we are limited as designers to, it's not just a new lot that we demoed, it is, we already have the pool, we already have the foundation that's there that we're all trying to save. So by doing that, what we did lose was almost 150 square foot of the original area because we had to put an elevator and that switchback stair that's in the house, so that when they come in, they didn't have any garages before, so now they have 2 big garages on either side. You know, with your groceries, you want to go directly up the stairs. You don't want to go back outside to go up the stairs on the outside. We were able to expand the size a little bit on one side of the house, but on the back, you had the pool. On the right, you had the setback that we were in. In the front, as Brandon said, we were already at 15 feet because the house was built so long ago. So we were able to use that. So trying to put the exterior stairs inside that original envelope would have taken another 150 square feet out of that envelope, if that makes sense. So they want to be able to have people come visit them and come in like they did with the original house, to come in on the living area, which is now 8 foot up higher than it was before. So that's the crux of where this came from. So yes, in looking at trying to do that within the original envelope, it was a huge sacrifice. By putting it outside, and they wanted to do the switchback stairs. They're older people. They have older people come visit them, so they thought it was a little easier to get up a half a stair at a time as opposed to the big long run that Brandon and I have talked about also as another possibility, so we don't get into that setback quite so far. Again, their preference would be to do the switchback as opposed to one long run of stairs. There's going to be some nice landscaping in front of that with some big palms. And the part that gets further into the setback, remember, that's lower than the upper part of the stairs. So I hope I explained it well. If there's any questions, fire away.
Oh, interesting. Questions for the board?
No.
So this, you designed this to be built on top of their original home, but this is an after the fact plan to add the front stairs, or?
Correct. This
is an add-on.
They would like to do that so that, again, people come to visit, they can come up those
Oh, I
exterior
understand.
stairs
Okay.
and ring the door.
It just wasn't part of the
Yes.
original design, and now
We
you're
looked at
in the middle of
possibly
it.
doing it, but the sacrifices you're going to make on the inside to try to do that were just too much.
Okay. And can we look at the picture one more time, too? I don't know if we can bring up or unless there's something, yeah. So with this picture, I'm just looking at, I think right now what you're proposing is putting the stairs all the way on the exterior wall, correct? As opposed to
Correct.
having it
You see
come
how you
off.
have the lower porch and the upper
Yeah.
porch?
Yeah,
They'd like that upper porch to be the entry detail.
right.
Matter of fact, we haven't ordered those doors yet because we don't know if those are going to be the entry doors yet or not. And then we would come up with the switchback stairs and then enter that upper area.
Could any portion, though, of the stairs begin recessed in so that you wouldn't need this much of a variance?
And you ultimately take that out of the interior square footage of the house, the living square footage.
Oh, I thought this was all open area right there
Well,
for
they
the
want
front
the
door.
balcony in the front
Mhm.
so they can sit on the front porch.
No, I think she's talking about
Yes.
down below the balcony.
That was the original one. That was the original porch, the original.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm
The
sorry.
question is, I think what you're asking is that, could the stairs be put so you can enter in from under there and
You could, but you would lose the balcony upstairs.
Right, right. That's what it's really about now. They want the stairs and the balcony, and we're saying you could have the stairs without the balcony or the balcony without the stairs.
Exactly. If you were to put, and yes, to answer your question, I didn't do a very good job.
Nope, that's
You
fine.
could remove the balcony, you could put the stairs in there
Yep,
in
yep.
place of it.
Stay
Then you
perfectly
wouldn't have
aligned.
a free area to get into the door either.
Yeah, yeah. It's, yeah, mm-hmm.
And you could do the stairs, but have them straight and have a less of a variance. Like, you could not have the switchback.
Right, or off this, I mean, I don't know, off the side of the house. I'm not sure where you put that exactly, but.
Madam Chair, if I may ask a question of the applicant. With your current plan that was approved that did not have the stairs, at the grade level, is there a foyer, like a foyer with the elevator and the stairs going up?
If you were to enter those lower, you see where the lower doors are? If you entered there is an interior stair. There is a foyer area down there.
Okay.
Where you have the stairs that come up.
Okay.
You also have the
Okay, so a visitor or the homeowner, anyone can enter at that grade level and have direct access to a staircase to go upstairs as well as the elevator? Correct. Okay, and it is finished unlike the garages on each side? Like it's a finished area, like,
Right, the 2 garages on,
Okay.
it is a separate area from.
okay, okay.
I'm sorry, but how do you get in the elevator?
So if you enter, now, underneath where the balcony is, in between the 2 garages, you can enter the home, and there's a stairwell inside, and there's an elevator inside to go up.
Correct.
From underneath the porch, or the balcony, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Correct. So they have a current permit that did not include the staircase as proposed in order to get the permit issued. And now they're coming back for an after the fact. But they're in the original permit that was issued at that ground level, you would open, say, the entry doors and have direct access to an elevator as well as a staircase to go up. So they're providing that interior.
Okay.
Kristen, is there any rules that are different between raising the house and doing a second-story addition?
As far as setbacks?
That would, setbacks or otherwise? Anything that would apply here? Because I feel like we're doing a second-story addition instead of
Like elevating that structure?
we're not elevating that structure.
Correct.
Abandoning and building up.
Well, yeah, we're building on top of it.
Not structurally.
Not structurally, you're adding
Close
pilings, I
on the
understand
old
that.
19
No, I know, I
foot
understand.
footings.
Yeah, I understand. But we're definitely not raising the structure.
We're not raising
Yeah,
the existing
okay,
at all.
yeah.
Correct.
Go ahead, Brendan.
I can answer that just real quick. And I'm sorry, we've gone from seeing one of these maybe every other year to 10 in a month. So,
Yeah, yeah.
which is, that's progress and obviously a response to the storm. But the city treats conversion of the ground level to parking, storage, and access and construction above the same as elevating in place. They're afforded the same permissions under the code. The only limitation, and the applicant is aware of this because we worked through this on the initial submittal of the building permit, is that if the living level is being reconstructed, it's limited to the same floor to ceiling height as what was converted at the ground level. So they couldn't take an 8-foot ceiling structure and build back one with 12. It would need to comply with the level that was converted. But he's gone through all that and he has gotten approval. So from a zoning standpoint, this is treated the same as in-place elevation. Certain homes can't be elevated in place for various reasons. So it's an extra
Thank you.
option. Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why he's before you today, because he does provide the interior access already in order to get that prior permit and without the exterior stairs, and now they're coming back to ask for that amendment.
Understood. Any other questions for the applicant?
I'm sorry?
No other questions right now. We'll
Oh, okay.
bring you back forward. Thank you so much. There's nobody else here at the moment, so we'll close public comment and open for board discussion.
And I did place for the board members a letter that we received an objection.
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with the height of or the stairs or anything else. It had to do with
Right.
the back of the house, which is irrelevant.
These are all, their own story, right? Like 3 different staircases, but in all very different situations. And I think the point that Kristen brought up towards the end is really important, in that there is an enclosed way to enter the home from the front right now.
Did we expert?
And the staircase
Yeah, we
is a
did.
bonus. We did.
Yeah.
We did.
I'm kidding. There's enough cases. Okay, thanks. So, yes.
That there is a way to enter the home as is. That was approved in the initial permits. And this would be a bonus kind of entry. And it's an 8-foot, request.
Yeah, it's a substantial request. The design was originally a balcony with a front door lower. I think if it were reversed, the front door upper, and then the staircase could take up some of the space below it. I think there's other ways to get in and out of this home.
Yeah, and I've got to say, driving around all of the blocks there,
Yeah.
the houses are pretty much all the same setback from the street, and this would be glaringly closer to the street.
Yeah. And the existing is already at 15, where it's permitted to be 17, and to go another down to 8 foot 4 inches would be substantial.
And I mean, I appreciate the way you simplified it too, in that you could have the balcony or, the stairs, and it's a choice, sometimes you just have to make choices in order to
I agree.
perform. But I think it's a really creative way to get the house elevated, and they've obviously been able to move very quickly. So
No, it looks
that's
great. I'm jealous.
Any additional discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think this will apply to a lot of any other houses that are going to be raised or added onto in that same area because the yards are so close to the street.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully for the community watching today, we've all learned a lot.
And this is the confusing part of it. We'll call this meeting today the 3 staircases, but if you were to just lift that house, you would have to have a staircase to get up to it.
True. Yeah, because it wouldn't be interior.
Now, that's the other, I mean, if you lifted your house and you filled that bottom with dirt, then where are you at? You need a staircase.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that, well, we're gonna see that come into play.
Agreed.
Because my neighbors, they lifted their house and it was just the same thing. It was all dirt on the bottom. So they did one little area of a garage, like a drive-in garage to preserve, but
Well, yeah, with a minimum
you
lift.
have to add stairs, but they met the encroachment. They moved their house further back to the water.
Although I will say, if you do that inset, which may not be there though, but yeah, that's a good point. If you did a minimum lift and you did fill with dirt, then you would have a problem. But if you do like a 10 or 12 foot lift where you're going to use it as parking space underneath, then you can have stairs underneath that go into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So for this case.
And you have the codes for stairs as far as
Yeah.
the risers and everything else. So, I mean, we're going to have a lot of this going on. Be prepared.
And we'll look at each one individually. So for this case, do we have any further discussion, or if not, a motion?
I can make a motion to deny case number 25090 based on the testimony of practical difficulty variance. Does not denote that there is a necessity of adding an additional staircase that would require this level of variance.
I'd second that.
Roll call, please.
Member Small?
Yes.
Member Causey?
Yes.
Member Core?
No.
Vice Chair Garshaw?
Yes.
Member Chase?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
All right, that concludes our action items for today. Were there any other items for discussion from any of the board members or staff?
Just, Madam Chair and members of the board, we had talked about earlier kind of providing some additional education on the different types of variances. Staff has kind of discussed that internally. We do have some suggestions if you wanted to add that for an item of discussion next meeting. Just the differences in the criteria between the practical difficulty and the unnecessary undue hardship. We can provide that, just some further clarification of what those individual variances are, the kind of history of them, just to start that foundation, and then we can branch off from there.
What does next month look like?
Next month, we do have, hopefully 100 Paso Grow Way will be coming back, and it looks that we may have 3 practical difficulty variances on board.
If I could add to, I think.
Sure.
Given we're seeing some consistent themes, or you all are seeing even maybe more than we are, if there are some also just examples that help us connect, I think, up some of the concepts that would allow us to all just, and the community to maybe get a better sense of what we want them to be thinking about, and hopefully not even needing to come here, but if they do, what does minimal look like and why?
Okay. Yeah, and we did have some, emergency things that were enacted, like this one. It was like you could elevate your home and maintain the setbacks, but again, a minimal staircase. Like those are kind of new that we haven't had before. And since we're seeing a lot of reconstruction, construction.
Yeah. Entry points are critical. So
Yes.
yeah, we want to
Yes.
appreciate that and get people elevated and.
Right.
Yeah.
And look at alternatives if they're
That's-
able
that's
to.
What was my point entirely. If it was just totally lifted, how do you get into your original entry?
Correct. And there's, different ways and different
I'd like to
designs.
sit down with you and go over some of those questions, and I don't know if everybody wants to show up an hour earlier before our next meeting, or?
I don't know, we'd have to discuss about having a workshop if we have the ability to do that. I think getting some information and a jumping off point, and then if we need to go into a workshop, we can schedule that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say what I would like to understand more about is the reason that some of the codes exist, like the setbacks in the alleys in Paso Grill, for example. And so what I'm thinking about is, I think we had mentioned garbage pickup. So I would like to understand, was the reason for the setbacks so that the garbage could be put in the alleys? Is that an issue in Paso Grill at all? I don't know. So I would like to understand that. Is there a way to accomplish that kind of thing?
If you would like to send staff like specific things that we can research, because it's kind of very, kind of specific on how it came about.
Is it specific to each alley then, what
Yes,
the issues
alleys
are?
are all different. They're all different.
Well, I know they're different, but the issues, and specifically relative to the flood damage, for example, and all the things we're seeing now.
And that may be something we can incorporate public services in on, as far as, they had looked at taking back alleys and doing different management of them and reconstruction of the alleys.
For example, today with the case where the auxiliary structures were right on the property line, if there were a complaint from the fire department or a complaint from the garbage people about how close that is to the alleyway and trying to pick up garbage, then that would affect the whole thing, I feel like. The board's decision, very possibly.
Maybe if there are any, I would just, piling on, I'm not saying what you're, but if you've got specifics, I think that's great. Otherwise, I feel like broad brush strokes around line of sight, like what we talked about even with the Don Cesar and Gulf Boulevard. If there's broad brush strokes about accessibility for emergency vehicles, neighbor kind of noise, fire, retardant, like distances, things like that are known, that are reasons that there's certain minimal things established. That might be some broad brush things that apply as just general good housekeeping discipline things that we should be thinking about. And then if there's something super unique, like we have alleys in Paso Grill, that there's some generic statements about that, that would be great. Otherwise, I appreciate that you need us to be very specific
And I
about
think
requests.
just even going back to the alleys when we've had prior application, I think staff is very cognizant of that, of line of sight and visibility and the narrowness, and bringing that out in our staff reports, as well as we try to bring you on site if you've had the opportunity to go and do a site visit and to show you those different angles. But if there's things that you would like to see additionally that we include in our staff presentations, we'd be happy to do that. But I do think we try our best in knowing the areas, and each, there are different neighborhoods and different feelings as you look throughout the beach. So we try to put that in our staff report as well. And we do recommend highly for any applications that they meet with staff, so we understand where they're coming from, and we ask a lot of the hard questions beforehand to try to massage it to be the best application it can be. We're open to that, we welcome that. So if you ask us off-the-cuff questions, or when they're here, we can ask them those pointed questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll move forward with having that as an initial item for discussion. If we have specific questions, we can always address those, to you individually.
But just to give a foundation of, as board members, what we're looking for with the criteria, the two different types. There's actually three, hey, but you guys only see two. The city manager gets to see those administrative variances. So there's,
In the historic board, I think, example that came up today,
exactly.
that was a little, I think that's a newer one that we're seeing, so appreciating that too. That might be another one. Just
That, and I did write that down as like the historic aspect of things. You know, sometimes when they come up here, like that one case in Paso Grosso, they have been to the historic board. They have gone through multiple boards, and there are some applications you'll see they have gone to every board by the time that they get here for different things. So we as planning staff deal with them a lot of hand in hand.
Sure.
As you brought up earlier, does just raising the home and putting what looked like an addition on top, so in your broad strokes, is there different setbacks for new
So
versus the lifted?
if they're doing elevating in place or they're doing as they were doing there, they are allowed to maintain those non-conforming setbacks. They're just limited to the height of the ceiling height of what they had before. So you can't say, I want to abandon my lower level and, as Brandon said, put 12-foot high ceilings. We're allowing you that non-conformity to maintain and be maintained, but you are limited to that same ceiling height and the same footprint. And if you did want to do an addition, it would have to be in conformance with the setbacks, anything new. Yeah.
Okay.
So it kind of gives that a little
What
allowance.
is the determination of what is new and what is just being an add-on? I mean, did he get, because he was using his material from down below and moving it up, the windows, I don't know if he put his cabinets from the original up top,
No, I think the interior is all new. It's the determination is whether it's within the same footprint or not. If they're elevating or if they're abandoning and converting and building above, that's fine. And that was passed by the commission last year as an additional option for those who don't want to completely scrape the lot and build new. In those cases, as the case of the first stair variance today, they have to meet all the setbacks if the lot is completely redeveloped. But you know, using what's there and just building above in the same footprint is allowed in most cases.
Okay.
So there's a lot of moving parts and pieces for sure. And each one is individual, right? So, you know, they are electing to see and to come forward to you to see whether or not that would be permissible. And
Well, and that's why I constantly say this is the Board of Adjustments, because sometimes our decisions can be based on compassion and hardship for the people of our community. I mean, they've been here for years and years and years, and this storm wipes them out, and we're, you know, it's a difficult thing, and I understand wanting things in brush strokes to have us in place so that we're all on the same page, but.
Great. Well, we'll have a lot more to discuss next month. For now, meeting adjourned.